across the driveway, we have got a very much in need of TLC orchard. Now, I was a bit skeptical about calling it an orchard, but apparently an orchard is anything with 3 or more apple trees, and we've got 6, although some of them are looking a bit worse for wear. We've done a lot of cutting back here to try and salvage these apple trees. It's lovely to see them starting to breathe some new life into them. We've got some signs of greenery, which is very exciting.
Well, the reason why we had some advice, actually, luckily, from some family members who are really kind of into what they do. They have a business in that area, and some of the trees had canker disease, so we had to cut back the bits that had the canker, basically, and get rid of that kind of responsibly. Yeah. And then, like you mentioned, by opening it up, now it's primed to be able to have the growth it needs to thrive.
Yeah, definitely. And these trees here, like this one, you can see it's very small, especially in comparison to the other, the thickness of the actual tree itself. What's that main bit of the tree called? The trunk. The trunk of the tree here is very narrow in comparison to the other trees. And that's because this was completely in the shade before. So we had to cut back a lot of the hedges and try and just give this tree enough light so that it can try and kind of revigorate itself. The same with the tree right in the back here. This poor tree has really, really struggled. It's very weak and tired, but again, it has got signs of life, which is very exciting. So hopefully they all start to come back to life again. And this will be our little apple orchard. And you can see the perspective is when you're looking at the house through, once these start to become green, and this is like a little orchard area, it will just be absolutely beautiful to sit here next to the house under the shade of the apple trees. Lovely. This building behind you here is the outbuilding, which is going to be the studio one day. So I think we'll be able to walk past the cars here. So again, this is another old stable. You can start to see like old troughs inside here and like some of the old building. The rafters and the beams are quite amazing in the roof. And I love all these old details, even if like where the drain pipe was. We're going to try and use those in some way inside the house in the interior to give it some of that rustic charm. This is probably the most dilapidated part of the build. So this is the garage space here, and then the studio next to it. And we actually, when we were kind of cutting back some brambles, we actually found another building completely. Came out from underneath the overgrown. So this building here, and we're going to need to try and speak to some people in the council potentially about what the history of this building is and like what we can do with it.
Essentially,
but there's a big space.
Before we found it, all you could see was that tile and that little bit of a tree stump sticking out, which made everyone think it was just a mound of rubbish, overgrown. So you can imagine our surprise as it got chopped back down lower and lower, that this quite a substantial foundation was underneath all the brambles.
And the wall is what Mike's standing on here. So the whole wall has obviously fallen off the height of this and just crumpled onto the floor. But the building goes all the way back to the back there where that holly bush is. So it's quite a big size.
And this tree has taken...
And it would be amazing to do something with this.
It's taken hold for sure. That's probably half of the problem.
Yeah. Well, that's a willow. But if we...
As in not part of the problem for us, but as in part of the problem for whatever the building once was.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's got bits of metal tangled up into the tree there, which is mad.
So this area that we've just talked about with the brickwork isn't in our current plans, because whoever did the initial plans and planning permission, which we bought with the property, wasn't aware it was there. So we won't be doing anything at the exact same point as the bits we've shown you, but that's something now we can, excitedly explore later down the line and try and turn into something with the plan. So it's worth us having in mind with the studio so that we can maybe tee up access to it if we were to extend into that area, which would be great. So.
Yeah, it would be amazing. It's such a big size space, and it's crazy because I think this outdoor like barn old tractor shed is probably bigger than the main house that we're doing. So it's a really great floor plan site, so it'll be amazing to see what we can do with it and what will be possible, but obviously important for us to get all the right planning in place before we do anything there. Behind you there is our first, what we call functional field, and this is going to be our kitchen garden space. So along this top edge here, we're going to start building out flower beds and vegetable patches very soon. The guys doing the fencing are meant to come out this week to get started on that. So actually that's going to be the first project that starts happening at Burkin Park, which is very exciting. And that's going to be a lovely space to work as well. We love the idea of having this gorgeous sort of gravel driveway, access to the kitchen garden, and then walking back up to the house with our fresh vegetable produce. So yeah, and that's Burkin Park. It was lovely to show you around.